The more people spend time while consuming your product or service, the more are the chances you have of making rivers of money. But that only happens if your product or service solves some sort of problem, or if it's really enjoyable. That's why Jeff Bezos is one of the richest person on the planet, since he solved some really big problems. And Cristiano Ronaldo also is, though he didn't solve any problem. But once he's the star of a product which billions of people enjoy and pay hundreds of dollar bills for watching, he also makes rivers of money. But if you look at his score, football is all about thousands of people who run after a ball with no clear solutions to any problem. But still, a football match is one of the most profitable business that exists nowadays, and that includes all kind of sport games because they're enjoyable and people spend money for accessing it. But now question is, what is money, how it works, and how is wealth created? Join me in this journey as we'll uncover the other side of money that hasn't been told. And no, I'm not going to sell you any course in the end of the video. Not today. What comes to your mind when you hear about money? A salary earned from a job? Or how do you feel when you hear about money? Stressed, fear, anxious? Do you feel as if money enters your life and immediately disappears? Is your money owned by someone else, your bank, a service provider, TV, house rental, your girlfriend, right even before it reaches your hands? Do you fear having a lot of money because, after all, money doesn't bring upon happiness? A study run by Forbes in 2020 shows that 78% of adults in the US live paycheck to paycheck. That means that right after they have paid some basic bills, they are left with little to no money and will only get another heavenly paycheck after 30 days or more. And the only solution left is the American very trusted free money source, the credit card debt, which offers free money at a very high interest rates, which of course you won't have enough money to pay, so it's going to be paid by another credit card, which is paid by another credit card, and the debt mountain keeps rising. Modern day's money model has become what the majority assumes to be the very correct and perhaps the only way of earning money. Such path is by many considered reliable, risk-free, and heavenly safe. In a 2005 commencement speech at Stanford University, Steve Jobs said,
"Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking."
If you stop for a moment and analyze, you'll realize that everything you have been doing your entire life is nothing more than cultural presumptions woven by other people's thinking. What cultural presumptions, you ask me? Well, to answer that question, I'll host you another question. Was it always your dream, or at least your choice? Go to a college, memorize useless stuff so you could throw it out in a test or exam, get good grades so you can earn a degree regardless of cost, demand, or economics, graduating with little to no actionable knowledge in personal finance or money production, making you no different from millions of people who never went to college or university. Get a job so you can officially join the Time Traders Club, a club of people who trade huge blocks of their life, 5 days of 7 in exchange of a paycheck, slaving all days for endless decades so you can finance the debts made by either you or your parents, or financing your academic progress. While some might be choices taken by you, I'd put my hand on fire betting the majority of them were the result of an inescapable gospel woven by other people's thinking, a prescripted road which no one can escape. Often such people include people to whom you respect the most, your parents, a very close friend, a girl, who often becomes man's purpose for a living when they live blankly without any purpose. If you had any chance of doing what you instinctively want to do, what would it be? Climbing the career ladder? Accept any random job because now you have responsibilities that demand for one? Would you become an entrepreneur, an inventor, an internet marketer? That's for you the idea of a big house, a sport car, fashion clothes, traveling all over the world without having to worry about going back to work seem like an absolute distant dream. Well, make no mistake, this life exists. By saying so, I hope not to be selling your dreams. You won't immediately become a millionaire after watching this video, neither you will win in the lottery. My aim in this video is to give you some glimpses and insights in the entrepreneurial niche. Feel free to quit the video at any time you wish. There won't be any get rich quick link at the end of the video, nor will I tell you exactly what business you should do. But if you wish to get a new, fresh and different perspective on how to turn things around, then stick to this video and make sure to also stick to the channel by subscribing and turning on the bell. A question. What is money? Or what does it represent? Well, for understanding that subject, let's travel back to the Flintstones era, a time where time itself was a complicated subject. In the past centuries of humanity's great existence, the only way available of paying for certain good or service was by giving to the good or services seller something he wanted or asked for exchange. Let's say you want some pair of shoes and you have a large livestock. In order for you to put your hands in a pair of shoes, you probably will need to give to the man some of your livestock. It's called a barter trading system. But quickly this method revealed itself problematic. Anyone giving a couple of sheep for a pair of shoes will feel cheated. The trading system was found to lack asymmetry. Time passed and people started migrating to other methods of exchange. This time the traded things was the most common objects or things that majority of people wanted, such as weapons, animal skins, and salt. As that happened, people started exchanging goods and services for those materials, even if they didn't need it at that time, just to keep it as a placeholder of value, so that they could change for something later. Everything was perfect, so perfect that the entire world slowly started shifting from the barter trading system to the newest trading system. But again, after a time, this trading system also revealed itself to be problematic. Weapons, animal skin, and salt was something that almost anyone could produce by himself, and that breaks the rules of money, since for money to be worth anything, it must be scarce, and that's applied for almost everything. If anyone can get their hands on something, then it can't be worth that much. Things like animal skin, weapons mostly made of pieces of wood, which anyone can get access to, aren't really a good measure of value. And because of that, around the year 717 BC, the very first value storage illusion was created in China. They created circular coins made of bronze. It represented value. You couldn't simply go to a beach and pick up bronze. It was scarce. By this time, the value of the coin was based on the metal it was made of. If you had 1 gram of gold, you could measure for yourself and see that, in fact, it's 1 gram of gold. Long story short, since the beginnings, money was a means used as value storage for mediating transactions. Or in other words, money is just a medium of exchange in which agreed perceived value is stored. But all this information alone doesn't tell us anything quite clear on how money works or is produced, isn't it? So let us take a deep look on it. In 2017, Johnny Depp, one of the highest paid film actors, was filed for bankruptcy with 100 millions in debt, despite accumulating more than 615 millions during the course of his career. By now, this has left for us something very clear. During our entire life, we all struggle day after day chasing money, migrating from a job to another seeking for better opportunities. But what's the real point in chasing money for our entire life, when the great problem seems not to be with our abilities of making money, but with our abilities of managing it? As I posted an example from Johnny Depp, it's clear to notice that the main problem wasn't with his abilities of making money, but with managing it. And by that, I'm not assuming that everyone who has money problems lacks school or formal education. But the problem is that when it comes to money and personal finance, there are some topics that it seems like our formal education didn't quite grasp yet, and so it failed to teach us. So let us proceed. We've talked about what money is, or what does it represent. But there are still some questions like how money works or is produced that wasn't clearly answered yet. When you buy a certain good, when you are paid for a work at a restaurant or a big company, what is the significance of money in these transactions? As mentioned before, money is a medium of exchange in which agreed perceived value is stored. You see, when you hand over a certain amount of money purchasing a product from a store, the real unconscious reason why you do such purchase is because you agree that the perceived value of the product is equivalent to the amount of money that you handed over. And that's how money works at its core. It is also the reason why you are paid lower as a restaurant waiter, but an engineer at a big company is paid higher. The perceived value of a restaurant waiter is by everyone agreed to be lower than an engineer is. You see, as a restaurant waiter, if you deny a certain price or salary because your price is higher, the only thing that will happen is you being replaced by anyone else. And that's because it is an easy task that can be done by nearly anyone, and there are millions of people available for that. It's not scarce. And if you recall what we previously said, scarcity increased perceived value. And of course, the price can't be determined by you as an individual, but by the market as a whole. Money equals perceived value created, generated, produced, and delivered to the market. But now, why is it that often money seems to carry moral values? You have probably heard someone claiming things like,
money is the root of all evil,
or that money doesn't bring upon happiness. Why is it that we look to someone rich and think he must be part of the drug deal scheme? He must be part of the Illuminati or any satanic club that gives money. He was just lucky. And never do we ask, what value did this person deliver to the market? Understanding money as being the result of a value delivered to the market, disconnected from moral assumptions, puts you in a good relationship with money. After all, if money doesn't bring upon happiness, then what's the real point in acquiring it? Money itself doesn't come with any sort of end usage. The things you do or buy with your money are totally your own responsibilities. Whether money brings happiness or not, it only depends on what you do with your money. You might be using it to acquire a dream car, a dream house, for helping people, or just spend it in a casino. But if none of these usages make you happy, then the sadness is with you as an individual. Money itself only gives you the power or ability to boost up your choices.
In the age of television, we watched and bought.
The Auto Magic Permafreeze, with plenty of room for groceries galore. The Auto Magic Permafreeze, with the super duper store-o-matic door.
Money itself only gives you the power or ability to boost up your choices. Often the things you can do with your money are divided into groups, each of them representing a different future. In very simple words, assets represents all goods, products or service you have or can acquire that has the potential to generate money. Some examples may include a taxi car or a burger shop. In the other hand, liabilities are all the things that draw money out of your pocket. Just like the assets, it can also include goods, products or service, a Netflix subscriptions, TV, your house, and even your beloved car. These can also be described as your production versus your consumption. If by any chance you got the opportunity to generate 6 figures income a month and still find a way to burn it all, then it's clear that the problem is not with the amount of money itself, but within the imbalance between the money you produce versus the money you consume. Remind your mind back to the example from Johnny Depp. According to a news site, Johnny Depp was able to generate millions of dollars per month, what allowed him to reach $650 million in net worth. That being posed, you might be asking yourself, how did he turn to bankruptcy with $100 million in debt, having such large amount of monthly production? As Jani said in his video about the same topic, production means nothing when you have a problem with consumption. Stop for a moment to reflect about how much money you consume per month and how much income do you produce in the same period. Do you feel as if more money will solve all of your problems? Have you ever had a month in which you got much more money than you usually get but still didn't solve any of your problems and had to lend money from a friend? The relationship you have with money describes whether or not you are in a rat race, a position in which you live want something from financial debt, constantly, one paycheck, one business deal, one music AP, and by living in this financial edge, the job you have, whether as a waiter or a pizza delivery, no longer becomes an option, but a necessity. Because now you're neck-tied by responsibilities, your car's insurance, Netflix subscriptions, basic utilities, the lifestyle you have, or at least the one you make people think that you have. In the end, the things you think you own end up owning you. Now you don't have any choice but waking up every single day with an alarm clock banging your ears with an annoying sound, crawling to shower and facing morning hot traffic while you freeze to death, because it's snowing and your feet are getting wet inside the very shoes. Now you must hear your boss every day criticizing you because you're not making as much money as you should so he can travel the world without worrying. Are there any possible solutions, you must be wondering? The answer is a clear yes. The very first step towards the solution is starting to develop an awareness for your relationship with money. By your relationship with money, I mean your production versus your consumption. One great way of doing it is, as I mentioned before, stop for a moment to reflect about how much money do you consume per month and how much income do you produce in the same period. A simple yet great strategy towards making it possible is by journaling your expenses during a couple of months or more. Create some basic expenses categories such as home, entertainment, food, and utilities, and decide how much you're willing to spend on each of them. By doing such simple tasks, in future months, you may have developed an expenses discipline in which you're able to decide how much you're willing to spend on each of the categories and stick to it, allowing yourself to save some money out of your income for getting new assets or maybe for some emergency cases. And by saying so, I hope not to be promoting frugal lifestyle in which you cheapskate all of your money into a savings account. In no means am I giving the be cheap lifestyle which hundreds of books, bloggers, and some YouTubers promote by telling you things such as,
here in my garage.
The purpose here is to show you another way in which you can use your money to generate more money, instead of burning it all in every single device, clutters, or brands that are acquired by the Jonases. Your friend buys new AirPods, you do it too. Popular girl at school buys new Zara trousers, you get one too. The neighbor buys new rims for his car, you do it too. Now cast your mind back to the Steve Jobs speech in 2005
Your
commencement.
time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking.
As per said, if you stop for a moment and analyze, you'll realize that everything you have been doing your entire life is nothing more than cultural presumptions woven by others people's thinking. Keeping up with the Jonases shows itself to be the biggest force that moves people into buying things. Adding with the power of technology and globalization, the Jonases now are closer than ever, An innocent notification, you pick up your phone and thousands of Janices fill up your eyes with glorious must-have objects.
Now, we participate and share.
No coincidence that, the hottest consumer product is the selfie stick, because people can't just have the experience and enjoy it themselves. Their status comes from sharing their experience with their friends.
But behind every transaction, behind every click, lies a hidden cost.
They now can find out exactly who's most susceptible to being manipulated into buying various products.
Who pays and who profits in the new economy?
Let us talk about how to make money. There are hundreds if not thousands of careers that you can follow in order to make money. Sure, you could climb the career ladder and become a big company CEO, or you could become a scientist and help the world with development of vaccines or new gadgets that can help us on a daily basis. Now, when it comes to entrepreneurship, I'm sure you have already seen someone who became millionaire in a relatively short amount of time, and you wonder to yourself, how did he reach such level? Well, fact is, there are many strategies you can apply in order to make yourself millionaire. Look at yourself. What is it that you like best? Or what is it that you do best? Is it painting? Is it making videos? Is it photographing, skating, or cooking? Now here's the thing. According to World Population Review, the US population is currently people, and UK is. That in mind, the chances of someone in these two countries like or admire the things you do are very high. The US and the UK are both on top when it comes to sales in online markets. Now point is, if you could find a problem in the market that needs a solution, and you're able to generate the solution for that problem, the final step will be the delivery of that solution at a large scale. The internet has provided us an enormous power when it comes to improving sales or growing small businesses. You can become the genesis of someone else by simply promoting a certain product or service you can provide, the solution you found, for a specific audience you would like to reach. The aim at this point is to engage with an audience, or at least create one, and from here, it only depends on you as to where you would like to reach. Sky is no longer the limit. Some businesses these days are reaching other planets. There are some tools you can use in order to sell your product at a mass scale, such as Skillshare, Teachable, Udemy, ThinkFig, and thousands of others. Now, these are some platforms you totally can use for selling your product or service in more online environments. Because after all, if you pay close attention, the world is slowly shifting to more digital ways of providing solutions. The very important thing you must make sure of is that your solution delivers high perceived value to the market, and it's not just another scheme of making money out of people's innocence. Remember that money equals value. Now here's a brief summary on how you can generate money. First of all, remember that money equals perceived value generated, created, produced, and delivered to the market. Find a problem in the market that needs a solution, generate a solution for that problem, and sell the solution you found at a large scale. Now this is the core principle of every successful business. Big companies make large sums of money by finding a problem in the market and delivering a solution for that problem at a mass scale, allowing the production side of the equation to grow up exponentially. Hello, Dilson here. Before you click off just yet, I wanted to be very grateful for having you to the end of the video. Having you here makes me super happy and believing that the video delivers some sort of value. Now, this video took me almost 3 months to get completed, and that's because unfortunately my house was robbed and I ended up losing almost all my equipment. So now this video was heavily inspired in many works, including Unscripted by MJ DeMarco, The Millionaire Fast Lane, also by MJ DeMarco, some videos from Jani, and also from Jake Tran, which are the two YouTubers that I must love. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, some videos from Arpachu, and some videos from Magnites Media, which is the third channel that I also love. Also, this video was sponsored by... Just kidding. This video has no sponsor. So if you would like to support this channel in any means, a subscription would really help a lot, or you can simply offer me coffee so that I can stay awake for long hours while producing the next video. I'm pretty sure you're already familiarized with Skillshare. It is one of the biggest sponsors of YouTube, but very few know Teachable. I'm using Teachable myself for creating amazing online entrepreneurial courses, which are going to be available for free as soon as possible. Make sure to stay tuned to the channel so you don't miss it. Now, if you enjoyed the video in any way, make sure to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. But if you didn't like, hit the dislike button and make sure to hit it twice just to guarantee that nothing goes wrong. And with nothing else to say, Wish you a really great day, and I'll see you in another video.